welcome back to Tech for the Nerds. This is episode 2, and this is Kenneth Brainerd. I'm your host for the trainings on different technologies that we can utilize in our program. This is just a reminder that we're looking at right now the Prezi that will contain additional information as we move on through different trainings and different programs. You can go to this link if you ever want to view this Prezi. And remember that it's adaptable, so it changes over time. So let's get started. We have a large one today, and it's going to probably be a two-parter. But if you remember, last time was the basic introductions to creating a Google form. So what we did is we created the NERRD's form, and then I showed you how to view the responses. And I additionally showed you guys how to share your form across different platforms, such as embedding it, sending it as a link, things like that. So today we're going to talk about analyzing your responses, because that's a huge component of the benefit of these Google Forms. And more specifically, I'm going to show you guys how to analyze it within the Google spreadsheet as opposed to downloading it to an Excel spreadsheet. So with that being said, let's go ahead and jump in, and we're going to look at the Google form that we created. So just a reminder, we're going to view the live form. Here we go. And what I want to point out is that I did update this form. I added some things that were different from last time. So I went ahead and created this entire form to kind of mimic what the data is that we're collecting in regards to our performance, or the NOAA performance measuring database. So what you'll see is we still have our contact name, our event date, but then our event type has spread out. We have our education program, the coastal training program, and so on and so forth. What we did here at GTM is we added the coastal training program so that if they ever did want to utilize this form, they're more than welcome to. Currently they do not, though, however. So let's go ahead and pretend like we're filling it out so I can give you a tour of what I've done. So we're going to say it's me. And the event that we had was last Friday. There we go. And then this was an education program. And what you want to do here, this doesn't really matter, because what we're trying to do in regards to the performance measures is that it's bean counting. So it's all about the numbers. It's really not who is visiting. But we like to collect who's visiting so that we can see which schools from what areas and where they're coming from if we need to in the future. So we'll call this one of our popular schools that come out here a lot is Ponte Vedra High School. And how I've divided it up is into separate categories. So we have our K through 20 environmental education program, or the KEEP program, which includes TOTE, then our community education program, and our public outreach. And so our high school would be a KEEP. Now the types of students that are receiving instructions, there are students that are receiving the instructions, and I've gone through this with my staff of us talking about, well, if there's a teacher standing in the background, are they receiving the instructions? And we decided that they're not. That the purpose of the teacher attending the field experiences is, yeah, we hope they gain information while they're listening to our instruction. However, we really need them there for student monitoring student behavior and things like that. So we don't really count them as those receiving instructions. And I'll show you what we do count them, though. So how many individuals were in attendance? Let's say it was 23, and contact hours is 2 hours. And what's nice is this is new. What I did is you're allowed to put a data validation on your questions. So I'll show you that. I can actually show you that right now. So this is back to our editing of the form, and if we scroll down to find that question, let me see. How many hours? Contact hours. So if we go to edit to look at it, you'll see I put a data validation thing on here, and what I did is there's a drop down, and you make sure that it says number. The number has to be greater than 0, and then this is the help text that if it doesn't have what it needs in there, it'll say number must be greater than, or you can write in what you want it to say here. So anyways, just wanted to show you guys that. So what kind of students or teachers were these? This was high school. And then here we were talking about the teachers, chaperone, parents that were in attendance and listened during your program. How many of those were there? And we'll say that there was 4. And we're going to count these as public outreach members, because they're still receiving and knowing who we are, because they're hearing it, but they're not really receiving that, they're not getting that estrine literacy instruction. So we'll push continue. The next is how many volunteers assisted or led with this event, or led this event. Let's say we had 3 volunteers and they helped out 3 hours, and that includes the setup and breakdown because that's part of this educational experience. Continue, and then additional comments. I like to have this just in case if they arrive late or something, we can make note of it so we can go back and see them later. So we'll submit that. We have the opportunity to submit another response, or we can actually just jump in and see what response we had. So what you can do is you can go back to the form where you can edit it, and you can go view responses here, or you can go back to your drive if you've already transferred it over to look at the spreadsheet, which we did in the last episode, and view your responses here. So what I'm going to do is just take you on a tour of the responses at this point, and let you see how they're entered in. I went ahead and did some as a tester so that we had a couple of responses so that it did the math and everything, but I just want to take you on a tour of it. So if we scroll down, you'll see this was the latest response that we just entered in, Ponte Vedra High School. It was high school students, and it has all the numbers. So what I'm going to do is, because this is going to be a huge, very long one, I'm going to break it off now and stop now. I just wanted to show you guys, here's all the answers. And then in the next one, I'm going to show you what we did for analyzing, and it gets really technical, so definitely have to take a deep breath in before you listen to the next podcast. Go grab a cup of coffee, relax, because we're going to get into some technical computer stuff. So with that being said, this is Kenneth signing off, and stay tuned for more.